Cellulose fibre insulation is insulation made from recycled newspapers. The insulation is used in attics, timber frame walls and sloping ceilings. It can also be used as sound insulation between party walls, party floors. It's a low-tech product. There's very little embodied energy in the manufacturing of cellulose. It's treated with simple chemicals as a fire retardant. Recycled newspapers are fed onto a conveyor belt into a giant shredder. Then the shreddings are blown into a shredding hopper. From there, the shreddings are augered into a hammer mill. At the same time, chemicals are augered into the hammer mill, and we can control the speed of both of those augers so we get the right percentage of paper to chemicals. The hammer mill beats the chemicals into the fibres. It turns the shreddings from bits of newspaper into a fibre. The fibre is then blown up from the mill into a cyclone, where the dust is extracted from the product. The product then drops into a fluff bin, and from there it's augered into the bagging machine. And the bagging machine produces bags at the moment of 17 kilos. There's two different applications of cellulose. One is open blow, which is 35 to 40 kilos per cubic meter. And this is an attic situation where you're standing up above and you blow to a certain height. Then there is injection, which would be a timber frame wall or a sloping ceiling, and this is a closed box. So the only way we can fill that is to inject it, and we have to inject it at 60 to 65 kilos per cubic meter to make sure that there's no slumping later on. The main ingredient for the fire retardant is borax, magnesium hydroxide. Now borax you would find in eye drops, magnesium hydroxide you'd find in milk magnesia, and then gypsum is the other product, which is all over. Every house has gypsum in it. It has very serious certification from the Agreement Board. In fact, there are only two products in Ireland which have the same certificate, even though there are other products imported into Ireland. We have tested the German products and they do not meet the same fire resistance standards that we have to adhere to. 300 ml of cellulose will achieve a U value of 0.126. 300 ml of rolled out fiberglass will achieve a U value of 0.15. 300 ml of blown fiberglass will achieve a U value of 0.16. So obviously cellulose performs much better. Another thing about cellulose is it's hygroscopic. So it can absorb moisture and release moisture. So in the winter it'll absorb moisture, in the summer in the heat it can lose that moisture. This is because of the natural fibres. Man-made mineral fibres don't have natural fibres in them, so therefore they're completely inert. They can't deal with moisture. Fiberglass has a lifespan of 20 years, whereas cellulose has a lifespan of the building. 300 ml in the walls, 400 in the ceilings. That's achieving passive, and it would probably be the cheapest way to achieve a passive house. We did a bungalow recently in Wicklow, and since then they don't turn the heat on in the morning. No logs go on the fire after 8 o'clock in the evening. Their house has changed completely. It's perfect for retrofitting, because normally when you go into a house, what's there is the old fiberglass, which would be just up to the level of the top of the ceiling joists. We would go in and put 300 ml on top of that, and that makes a huge difference to the house. It's been used for soundproofing, for example, between bathrooms and bedrooms, in floors to separate the noise from televisions going up into bedrooms. You have to be trained to install cellulose. Installing cellulose in an attic, that's not hard to do. And in fact, in America and in France, it is a semi-DIY project in that you can go to your local builder's yard, you can buy your bags of cellulose and you can rent a small machine. However, doing injection, which is timber frame walls, sloping ceilings, this requires training and practice. Studies have shown in Canada and America that a timber frame insulated with fiberglass is actually 20% more dangerous than a non-insulated structure. If you put cellulose into the timber frame, it now becomes 25 to 50% safer than a non-insulated structure. I would have personal experience of at least 3 or 4 houses that would have burnt down had they not had cellulose, which I had put into it. Installing cellulose in a house definitely improves the air quality in that house. There's no mold associated with cellulose. You're creating a better atmosphere, a more healthy atmosphere in the house. I mean, I have a grumpy neighbour of mine who I didn't want to insulate his house, but I had to. And after about 2 or 3 weeks, I got a phone call from him, John, I think this is working. We used to get up in the morning, it was 10 degrees. Now we get up and it's 18 degrees. That's the difference you can make if you insulate a house properly. It works better than the man-made fibres that have been used presently. Probably costs less in euro cost, definitely costs less in carbon cost. I can't think of a more sustainable, low-tech, simple solution to energy saving than cellulose.